And we bake.
We are back.
Once again. So, something that's been pointed out to me here recently that I think is an interesting development. Next year is going to be kind of a busy year for, like, action cinema. You know?
Yeah.
Especially July.
July is about to be. I was talking about this with the homie Kyle earlier. What up, Kyle?
What up?
Just a few hours ago. We was playing some Black Ops, some blops, if you will.
Some blops, yep.
And we were discussing this very thing. Do you know off the top of your head which comes out first? Is it Superman Legacy or is it
It's Jurassic World Rebirth.
No, Superman Legacy or was it Fantastic Four?
Superman comes out before Fantastic Four.
Gotcha.
Yep.
So the homie Kyle, this is not me. Mm-hmm. I would never make this prediction. He made a bold prediction. He said that the Superman Legacy is coming out first, which it is.
Yep.
That he thinks it's going to blow Fantastic Four away. I'm not saying that couldn't happen.
Yeah. I mean, like this scenario can go so many different ways, right? So you got two big blockbuster superhero movies coming out in the same year. Both are very anticipated. Both are very important.
In the same month.
Just a week or two apart from each other. I think like 2 weeks.
As I say, it's got to be 2 weeks because I know that Superman Legacy probably has a 2 week IMAX engagement.
Yeah, so that looks to be the case here. So looks like the main three here would be they have Jurassic World Rebirth at July 2nd. Then they have Superman Legacy at July 11th. And then Fantastic Four First Steps, July 25th.
Look, man, on the account of July being really busy, I just don't think we're going to have time to review Jurassic World Rebirth.
Do we know anything about that?
I know that it's 2 more Jurassic movies than they should have made.
Just 2. Okay.
At minimum 2. An argument could be made that they should have just made the one.
Yeah, I think after Jurassic World, like the one that came out 9 years ago, that probably should have been the only one.
I agree.
You know.
Oh, I meant like an argument could be made that Jurassic Park should be the only one.
That
like
too.
96.
Yeah, for sure.
96.
90 something. You know.
I did it again. The committee gonna be after me.
You know how they get about this type of thing.
Yeah, man. Well, it'll be fine. It'll be okay. If they want to complain about something, then they can complain about Brendan's homie status.
They said it's still pending. All right, they have a lot on their plate this time of year.
Yeah, they do. Yeah,
so
they're working out the homie awards.
Yeah, they're trying to get Hans Zimmer. Right. Per your request again. And, it
wasn't a request. It's a demand.
Oh, shit. Yeah. But out of those 3 movies that come out in July, what are your predictions? What do you think happens?
Okay, I think Jurassic World Rebirth is going to be, unless they just like the casting, the trailer, everything just falls into line and makes it look good. I think it's going to be garbage, right? What they need to, the only thing, in my opinion, left for them to explore is an actual world where it's like there are just dinosaurs, right?
Yeah. Is this another sequel or is this like a soft reboot?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Honestly. I've been really tuned out on this thing.
I understand.
But, that's the promise that they've been trying to go for since Jurassic Park 3. Into Jurassic Park 3, we get that clip where the pterodons have escaped. And that was like the post-credits tease, back before. You had to put your shit before the credits back then. Yeah. But because nobody was, as soon as that first name came across the bottom of the screen, people was out. Yep. And so, you had to do that. But yeah, they showed that and there was no follow through. It was like a damn phase 5 post credit scene. Cool thing, but we never planned to go back to it.
Right.
So then Jurassic World at the end, we had all these creatures get off the island. And then Jurassic World 2, it's like, okay, we're finally going to get that. And it's like, nope, we're going to have the whole movie be in a museum at an auction. And then at the end of that movie, 100%, all those dinosaurs break out, and now they're in the wild, and that's the whole big end credits, Last Jedi bullshit at the end of that movie. And then the next movie isn't about that either. It's about locusts. So at some point, you guys need to actually deliver on the only thread that you really have left.
Mm-hmm. That requires, though, a measure of thought, creativity, and clever writing to pull off that story.
I just feel like ever since Jurassic Park 3, and I'm not one of these people that just thinks it's awful. I take it over any of the world movies. But I feel like ever since that one, it has, that's where it really became there is no creative anything. This is just a Hollywood money grab.
See, I don't mind the first world that came out.
It's a lot like Force Awakens to me. It retreads over a lot.
It does, but it is at least its own story, right? Where I can't trace the threads like I can with like Force Awakens.
Right. It has Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yeah, it's got Vincent D'Onofrio.
He trains raptors.
Yeah, he's not in the OG one, and he's not training raptors in that one either.
And Sigourney Weaver's not in any of them. That's the real problem.
That's the low ceiling on it, Yeah. No Sigourney Weaver.
Sigourney Weaver should play a CGI raptor in the new one.
I feel like we maybe jumped the shark on that one. She can maybe be in it as like, a human.
Oh, I mean, we could do that too. if we gotta.
Yeah, I don't know how much faith I have in Jurassic World Rebirth. Honestly, I think it's too soon. I think that the audience is maybe still a little burnt out on that franchise. I think I love that road and the potential that it has, but I think maybe they should have given it some more time for it to cool off first before they go right back in with yet another Jurassic sequel. But that's just me.
Yeah, I agree. Let's talk about the two kaiju in the room, right? Because Jurassic World's gonna wish they hadn't opened in that month.
I think so. Yeah.
So if we look at it right from the standpoint of like Superman versus Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
The director, which is Matt Shakman
for
Fantastic Four.
Okay. What else has he done? I'm not too familiar with that name.
He directed a couple episodes of Everybody Hates Chris.
Okay.
He directed a fuck ton of Psych episodes.
Oh, okay. See, I watched both of those shows.
House, It's Always Sunny.
Okay.
Ugly Betty. It looks like he did a lot of TV directing.
Yeah.
Chuck.
Okay, so I've seen most of those shows.
Game of Thrones.
Wow.
He directed Spoils of War. That's a great episode.
Huh.
He also directed quite a few episodes of WandaVision. It looks like this guy has literally only done TV. So this is going to be his movie directorial debut? It's looking like it. Mad Men. I mean, he's done a lot of TV.
Wow.
He did Cut Bank in 2014. That was his first big screen movie. I've never heard of it.
Yeah, me either.
But I mean, 2 movies. That's your I feel like for you to be handed Fantastic Four from Marvel Studios, you should have done something more than that.
One would think so. Granted, I'm sure that his work on those TV shows is probably pretty damn good.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of those episodes he did, and I mean, Spoils of War is probably the best episode of Game of Thrones in the later 2 seasons. That's the one where they're on the train.
Okay.
They do the supply train, and Danny shows up and is like, nah, done with this shit.
Gotcha. Okay.
That episode was tremendous.
Yeah, it is.
Some great cinematography and directing in there.
Yeah. People always make fun the end, though, when Jamie falls into the...
Yeah, it makes no
cliff.
sense.
Yeah.
It looked hilarious.
You're right. I couldn't imagine stepping into, the first step in a shallow bit of water, and then you just 11,000 feet deep.
In full plate mail.
In full plate mail, yeah. See, this is why Wolverine doesn't swim,
Yeah. He also has a metal hand.
That too.
Yeah. yeah. And not to mention, like, the way it's shot, it looks like he's about 15 feet from Drogon.
Yeah.
When he gets tackled, I'm like, okay, so why wouldn't Drogon just, just eat him?
Yeah.
Like, if we're looking to kill him here, which we clearly are, but this is not the Game of Thrones podcast today. It could be at some point in the future. House of the Dragon and all that. But
I think that both Superman Legacy and Fantastic Four have unique they have unique hands to play here. So, like, for example, the unique stance that Superman Legacy has is that it does come out first, and because of that, there's a lot that this can do. And listen, as to this recording, we still don't have a trailer or a teaser. We don't know anything about it yet, particularly.
We do know that there was almost no reshoots.
Yeah.
James Gunn said that in his last 3 movies combined, he had about half a day of reshoots,
which is impressive.
It's called you make the script you want to film, and then you go shoot it.
I mean, if you want to be that asinine about,
Yeah. There's dimensions to this, right? It's Matt Shockman versus James Gunn. Mm-hmm. And if you just put that on paper, you're like, well, shit, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Jake Paul said he could fight Mike Tyson in his prime. I was like, no, dog. He almost beat you last night.
Right. with no knees.
Yeah. When he came out and with the ring gear off and everything, I was like, this motherfucker didn't skip leg day. He's never seen it.
Right.
Like, never heard of it. But yeah, if we're looking at it from that perspective, and then if we're looking at it from a perspective of it's the DCU versus the MCU, the DCU is unknown.
Yeah.
It's an unknown quantity right now.
Right.
And then if you're just looking at the properties themselves, Fantastic Four versus Superman, I think in the cultural zeitgeist, obviously Superman is the juggernaut there. But Fantastic Four isn't like some unheard of.
Right. People know the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
So the interesting stance that Fantastic Four has is they can be built up and anticipated in the movies that precede it.
Right.
So I don't know what happens at the end of Thunderbolts. I don't know how they could do anything that could possibly tie in to Fantastic Four. But if people can leave Thunderbolts feeling like, damn, I can't wait for Fantastic Four, that's a huge win,
Right.
But I don't know how you get there.
I mean, I think we need to have post-credits scenes that lead into Doomsday all the way up into Doomsday. So I think that Captain America, at a bare minimum, needs to lead in, have a Thunderbolts post-credits.
Which is very feasible.
I think Thunderbolts needs to have a Fantastic Four sting in there. We're getting 3 next year from Marvel, right? We're getting Captain America, Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four.
Mm-hmm. It seems like we should be getting more because that's all by July.
I know. Yeah.
So I think we may have more. I'm not for certain.
Well, Disney did release their full slate. Let's see.
And maybe the back half is loaded with the TV shows, but no, because Born Again comes out in March. The Spider-Man animated show comes out in January. So it's hard to say right now. I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting either way, though. What do you think is more anticipated right now by the casual fans between Fantastic Four and Superman Legacy?
I'll be honest with you, man. I think a lot of casuals don't even know that Superman Legacy is a thing right now.
Maybe.
Because, you got to think about... Well, I think once the trailer comes out, I think there'll be hype. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, Superman Legacy only exists on the internet to nerds right now.
Yeah, true.
DC has been very... Warner Brothers Discovery has been pretty stingy with their money. Their marketing money.
That's the way to put it.
So straight up, this is the Disney actually yesterday. They released their full 2025 slate. And the front of the year from Marvel it's very front loaded. So we got, Spider-Man TV show January 29th. We got February, we got Captain America Brave New World. Daredevil Born Again in March. April is going to have Andor Season 2 for Star Wars. I'm sorry. Andor Season 2, A Star Wars Story.
Thank you. I was curious what you were talking about.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I got to be specific. Yeah. Then, in May, we got Thunderbolts. We got Ironheart in June. We got Fantastic Four in July. And then we have Eyes of Wakanda in August. And then Marvel Zombies in October. And then Wonder Man in December.
So let's be honest. They could easily have put Fantastic Four in a completely different month. It could have been off in August by itself.
You know why they put it in July, right?
Why is that?
They want to hype it at Comic-Con. Yeah. Because, let's see, Fantastic Four is July 25th, right?
Yep.
So, Comic-Con 2025. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Guess what? It comes out just like Deadpool and Wolverine. It comes out during Comic-Con. San Diego Comic-Con is July 24th through 27th.
Wow, okay.
So, there you have it. That's why.
Yeah.
And it worked out very well for them with Deadpool and Wolverine. I hope they don't do like Deadpool and Wolverine and fucking spoil everything.
Right. The other difference, though, is that, I mean, to play devil's advocate, I think you can argue that the turnout was going to be the same for Deadpool and Wolverine regardless.
Yeah, that's true.
You know. Yeah, so it's going to be interesting, man. I don't know. We know so little about both of these movies as of now. And yeah, I just obviously hope they're both great. We're going to have a fucking busy first half 2025.
Yeah. I know that a lot of people on the internet are very worried about Silver Surfer.
Mm-hmm. I think it'd be a very small road that the Surfer's in, honestly.
Yeah, I actually hope that maybe it is a small role, but with more later. Mm-hmm. Because Julia Garner is incredible. Have you seen Ozark?
Like the first 3 episodes on repeat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I keep having to start over.
Ozark's an interesting one because the first episode of that show is a completely different show than episode 2.
Absolutely. Yes.
And you actually don't really meet her until a few episodes after that, I think.
Okay.
But she's easily the star of the show. Like, she's the favorite on the show. And she does such a good job of, not to make this the Ozark review, but her arc from, like, when you meet her and you're just like, this is just some annoying trailer park trash chick that is a, freaking grifter.
Right.
To, like, you kind of seeing her arc where it's like, you really get to see the difference from, like, she is, like, screwing people over to survive, and other characters in the show are doing it because it's fun. Like, they're doing it because they're just bad people and they enjoy it.
Yeah.
And kind of seeing, like, those two moralities intersect or lack thereof.
Yeah.
And, she's tremendous. She's, like, really the tragic character in that.
Yeah, I have no reason to believe that she won't do well in the movie.
But she can't outact the writing if the writing sucks.
Yeah, that's the thing, Like, it's going to be hard to do that. And like, my thing is, it was also a very deliberate, active decision to use Shala Ball instead of Norrin Rad for Silver Surfer.
Yeah.
And part of me is thinking, I guess the optimistic part of me is thinking that they're using Shala Ball for this alternate universe where the Fantastic Four come from. And once we come to the 616, then maybe we'll get classic Silver Surfer, either the one who's actually in the pages besides 6 panels.
Everything I read about this makes me more worried. So I went to go look. We talking about the writing. I went to go look at who's writing it.
Yeah,
it's being directed by Matt Shopman, of course, and it's from a screenplay by the writing team of Jeff Kaplan, Ian Springer, Josh Friedman, Cameron Squires, Eric Pearson, and Peter Cameron.
How many people are writing this?
6. So that's my worry, is that this thing's going to be filmed by committee, and we know how that goes.
See, I actually had that fear once you told me about the director.
Yeah.
And once I saw that he really didn't have that many movie credits, it kind of sounds like the whole micromanagement thing that we've seen from him before, you know?
Yeah, because that goes one of two ways, right? Either you have, I mean, the Russos were similar, you know? They were mostly TV.
That's
Community,
true. Yeah.
You know?
But they also, their movies felt like them. It didn't feel like anything that had came previously.
And it's funny because they've been trying to ape it ever since.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at Secret Invasion, it's like, oh God. Like, they were like, just try to make this.
Just try to make, Falcon Winter Soldier, just try to make a Russo movie.
Yeah.
Honestly, Brave New World, it might be Black Widow.
Oh, no. Please. Yeah, I honestly think that when it comes down to it, you know, I think Fantastic Four will deliver. I think Fantastic Four has to deliver.
Yeah.
But it's interesting, right? But both of these movies have the same problems, right? Mm-hmm. They both have to deliver.
Yep.
Because the MCU, like, let's just say Captain America and Thunderbolts are dope. Mm-hmm. If Thunderbolts is a great fantastic. If it's a great movie, right? And Brave New World's also great, positively received, we will be on a 1-year Marvel winning streak.
Yeah.
Unless What If is just trash.
Right.
Right? We will be going from Deadpool and Wolverine to Agatha to What If to Captain America to Thunderbolts. If Fantastic Four is not good, and I don't mean like it's like Iron Man 3. I just mean if it's just boring or meh.
Right.
The MCU is going to survive. The DCU cannot come out of the gate with anything other than a hit. It can be a single, but it's got to be a hit.
Yeah. No, you're right. It has to, I mean, at bare minimum, it has to be good.
Yeah. Yeah. Me, as not a Superman fan, has to walk out of it and go, okay. Yeah. All right. It's hard for me to fathom what a great Superman movie would be like. I'll be honest with you. Just because it'd be like if you asked me, and I don't mean this to shit on Superman, it'd be like if you asked me what a incredible fucking Beetleborgs movie would be like.
That sounds like you're shitting on Superman.
I'm just saying, I just can't fathom what a AAA Beetleborgs movie would be like. You know, that I would really, really want to go see. Other than for like the how awful is this going to be, you know?
I think the best approach, honestly, is to delve more into the character of who Kal-El is.
Yes.
Look at what he struggles with. Look at what makes him different from humanity, not just from a physical standpoint, but, you know, from like an emotional standpoint as well. And, you know, for fuck's sake, you know, have fun with it. I mean, he's got the underwear. So, I mean, I think, and if nothing else, James Gunn knows how to have fun. And so I think that this movie will be I think we'll see a lot of good kind of lighthearted, natured Superman. And we'll see him struggle with kind of the typical Superman struggles that he has to contend with. I think that if they put us into the mind of Superman, we'll see somebody who hears the cries and pleas of everyone and has to contend with that. You know, we'll see someone who is struggling about his role in society. Should he be a savior? Should he, you know, why the fuck does Lex Luthor hate me so much? You know, it's gonna it's gonna be a lot of that.
Yeah, I think that it's important for them to get it right. I just don't know what that looks like. But right now, we don't really know anything.
Yeah.
It sounds like the production went well. Mm-hmm. So we're going to see. We're 24 minutes into our cold open here. But we said we would talk about that YouTube comment.
Yeah, we did.
So we got to do that. And then we promise.
And then we promise we will get into the penguin.
The penguin.
The penguin.
The penguin.
The quack quack.
Not to be confused with a pangolin. That's a very different creature.
What noises do penguins make? Because I just made it sound like a duck, and I realized penguins, in fact, probably do not sound like ducks.
Well, I'm actually gonna Matthew McConaughey you here, but
Okay.
Penguins don't exist.
All right, so you hit me with the Dylan factoid.
There are no penguins. The penguins are actually extinct. The birds that exist now that we call penguins are just named, like we just call them that. They're actually, I think, auks is what they're called, but they're actually just, we call them that because they resemble the actual penguins, which are extinct.
Yeah, there is no nice way to say that I don't care.
But you asked me what noise they make, and I was like, well, they don't exist, so I can't tell you. So
you could have just said, I don't know. That would have sufficed just fine. You know?
What do you think the likelihood of that is? You've known me for a long time.
All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at this question here. And by the way, I'm going to peer into the future and say that we are going to talk about this again just a little bit for our Red One review.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But we got this comment on the Agatha review.
Agatha, yep.
Yeah, so we wanted to talk about this.
Yes, so the homie's name here is Rational Watcher.
It's a cool name, by the way.
It is. He's like the responsible watcher. So, like Uatu is always interfering in shit. And he's like, come on, man, let's be rational here.
There's like a council of watchers, a council of Ricks. It's like Dependable Rick.
Oh, wow. Wonder what he's like. So the homie here says, so you think Disney is wasting its resources doing a show like this, as if Marvel hasn't done 8 to 10 bigger shows since WandaVision, but none of them managed to grow and add viewers like WandaVision during its run until the same WandaVision team made Agatha all along. These second and third tier characters like Agatha, Wiccan, and Jennifer Kale are perfect for TV shows. I don't think that audiences care so much if they know or recognize characters or how a show fits in the wider MCU, as long as they are enjoying what they are watching in the moment. And Agatha all along offered a good ride. By the same turn, you shouldn't condemn the show because you have no idea what, if anything, Marvel Disney will do with the characters next. In fact, the big complaint usually used against Marvel is the conspicuously shoehorning in teasers for possible upcoming film TV projects. Now it kind of sounds like you wanted more of that out of this show. Thoughts?
So there's a lot of things that I agree with in there. One of them being, yes, like the Agatha viewership, and I have some data on it here. The 7th episode, right, within the first day of it coming out, so we don't really have the long-term numbers for the show yet, but the 7th episode was viewed by 4.2 million unique viewers in the first 24 hours. That is a 35% increase from the premiere. That is gold standard in streaming.
Right.
Because normally on any show like this, you have a big streaming spike, and then, a third of the audience says, not for me, and they never come back.
Yeah.
For you to start with one and grow like that doesn't happen. And WandaVision is another part of that. And I think a lot of what happened with this show is a lot of people probably viewed it like we did. I could not give a single fuck about this. And then, wait, you mean it's good? Okay, well, I'll take a look. Oh shit, this is good, So I think that probably happened a lot. I think the strong word of mouth, the strong reviews. Episode 7 of that show is one of the best reviewed things Marvel's ever done. I think the things that this show did and things that WandaVision did, obviously, those are great for Disney Plus. Like, those are doing really good numbers over there. I think the thing about it is, we don't want to see these projects that have nothing to do with the overall MCU. That's not the strong suit. Don't get it twisted. We don't want to see all these little teasers that become nothing.
Right.
Like the Blade teaser or the Black Knight teaser or any of this nonsense where it's like the MCU is just never going to make good on these promises. The giant aborted Celestial that we're just now getting like all these years later, or Thanos' brother and his dog or whatever.
We will never see him again.
Yeah, it was that What's his name?
Eros.
Eros. Yeah, we're never gonna see him.
No.
So no, don't get it twisted. We don't want any of that. For me, what I would like to see is a show in the vein of Agatha that has some significant contribution to the overall MCU. And I'm not saying Agatha doesn't.
Yeah.
I'm just saying if you're going to do these kind of niche shows, there needs to be something there for, your just casual MCU viewer. If they have to pick, they don't. But if they got to pick, make a quality product.
Yeah.
Right? But the MCU, not me, has trained us to have our cake and eat it too. That's what led them to, the Infinity Saga.
Yeah.
Here's a good movie, and here's how it ties into the big picture. And phase 4 or 5, we got to pick. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we get neither.
Sometimes you get neither.
And, they've conditioned us to get both, and that's what we want.
And I think I'm right there with you. Like, ultimately, my kind of response or rebuttal to this is, like you, I agree with a lot of what the homie here says.
Yeah.
And
well put, by the way. Very thought out.
Very, very well put and thought out. It's almost to the point where I'm almost confused or befuddled as to where your potential beef is here. Because I'm like, yeah, everything you said, yeah. So I guess like the thing of it is here is this. You can't be, or I guess you can be whatever, but you shouldn't be frustrated with us for being frustrated with Marvel and their direction. So they just spent the past phase and a half twiddling their thumbs and doing fuck all. Making mid movies with little to no connection or interconnectivity, and as you put it, with like the top tier guys, and it just didn't go anywhere, didn't do anything. But they've done the same thing with other second, third, and fourth stringer MCU characters as well that also went nowhere and did nothing. And it's like Caleb said, the thing that's gonna always bring it together is it well written? Is it well made? Is it quality? That's going to stand out above anything else. That's what I said about Deadpool and Wolverine when people complain about that not being connected. I said, well, above all else, this is an extremely fun ride and an extremely well-made movie. And that's what I cared about most of all. And that's always what we care about first. My thing of it is like this, though. If you have the option to make something that is tied into the MCU that feels big and important, and that is also well written, obviously, but we don't know that before we actually see it, I'm going to be more excited about that than the thing that's made with the side character Witch Ghost.
Yeah. Well, a lot of that too is like, it was kind of like X-Men 97 in the point that like, yeah, the trailer didn't look that good because they couldn't show us a lot of things, and that's another place where, in the days of movie trailers where you're giving away too much. Yeah. So then all of a sudden it's like, oh, we got to make a trailer for this thing, but we can't show anything because, we actually wrote a plot for it.
Right. Yeah.
But we always appreciate the feedback for sure. I just want to make sure we set the record straight that we do not want a bunch of endless teases for things that aren't going to happen.
Right.
We want a concise quality through line in the background of all of these movies.
Absolutely. And, I guess just to kind of bring this thing on home, back when the Disney Plus shows were first rolling out, the show that everyone was excited for was, in your opinion, what?
Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Thank you. And why would people be most excited about that?
Because it had characters in it that we know and love.
Top tier characters that have been in top tier movies that we know and love and care about, and we're being told that it's in the same vein of those movies that we love. It's got it's a lot of the same characters in it, similar tone. Did it deliver according to our expectations? No. Absolutely not. You know what people were on the fence about? WandaVision.
Yep, and it was stellar.
And it was great. It wasn't a perfect ride, but it was still highly enjoyable. So, it's all about, is it well written? It's not like we're counting anything out, but a lot of the times, if I could choose which one was going to be stellar and which one was going to be meh, I'd probably choose the one that feels more important to the overall theme of the MCU.
And I'll add, too, that some of this is Marvel's fault. Because if we were getting banger after banger, if we could still sit here like we could once upon a time and go, well, this is MCU. Yeah. So it's going to be dope.
Right.
We can't do that anymore. And that's not our fault.
Yeah, that's not really. Yeah, that's not our fault. We can't do that anymore. You know,
if anything, it being in the MCU makes me more skeptical that it might be good or not at this point, because that's where they've led us. Although, like we just discussed, 2024, man, they really, I feel like they're trying to crawl out of the trenches
because they realize they have to.
Yeah,
especially with the competition on the horizon.
We've gotten some bangers this year. I mean, X-Men '97, Agatha, Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah,
And then, What If looks pretty good from what I've seen. So,
yeah, hopefully they're back to season 1 material for What If.
I mean, if they're going to give me Storm with Mjolnir, they can do whatever they want. I'll be honest. Right.
I'll come on here and just review that episode if I have to.
Yeah, I'll be like, it was awesome, man. Storm with Mjolnir was dope. So, what we got coming up next?
Really quick, and then I promise we'll get started 30-something minutes into this
Into the Penguin.
So I also want to give a shout out to the homie Chris. He has reached out. I forgot to mention this on the podcast some time ago when he had a suggestion here. I think this is in response to one of our comic news episodes.
Comic news.
He has a couple of thoughts for potential picks moving forward in some of these live action movies. We talked about casting a new Venom for the MCU. He said, what's his name? Alan Richardson.
Okay.
Yeah. Jack Reacher, that guy.
Yeah. Aquaman.
And he was he the first?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was
CW,
Smallville. CW Aquaman.
Mm-hmm.
And he will always be his Blue Mountain State character to me, though.
That too.
Every time I see that guy, even though he fucking killed it as what was he? Did he play Hawkman also?
No, he played the character Hawk. In,
Titans.
Right.
Right. That's what I'm thinking about. Yep. Yeah, I liked him okay in that.
I did too. I don't know how interested he is in returning to the superhero realm because honestly, it's never treated him greatly.
No,
because he was also, I think he Raphael in one of the two of the Michael Bay Ninja Turtle movies.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and it just never really treated him that well. I mean, which is crazy because the guy's got the size and the look to play somebody in a superhero theme capacity.
I just don't think he's leading man charisma. I just don't. Nothing against him. I mean, he's got the look. He seems like a nice guy. I think he's fine as a supporting role. Mm-hmm. I just don't think he's like carry the movie.
How would you feel about him though, as a co-star standing next to Tom Holland?
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the thing, man. If you're gonna stand Alan Richardson as Eddie Brock next to Tom Holland, that's gonna look ridiculous. That's gonna be like those movies with Arnold and Danny DeVito.
I think it kind of should though.
Yeah, I mean, I dig it. I mean, Venom's going to be huge anyway.
Yeah. And then this is again an opportunity to do something maybe more practical with the Venom look.
I'm not opposed to it. Like I said, though, I just don't know about him as like in like a solo Venom movie. Although I'm fine if they just don't do that.
They don't have to. I don't want another solo Venom movie.
Correct.
Yeah, I want bad guy Venom. In a Spider-Man movie, and then after that, they can decide to do whatever with Venom. Yeah,
I'm gonna be straight up honest with you. I'm okay with no Spider-Man villains having their own film that doesn't have Spider-Man in them. That would be excellent.
Sony thinks that's preposterous.
Yeah, I know.
He also here has just one more fan casting because we were talking about in that episode Sebastian Stan about how he wants to play the Riddler, and I remember that perplexed you to extreme measures.
Yeah. Is it going to be kind of like the Riddler in the Batman? Because it definitely can't be like the Riddler in Batman Forever or most of the comics.
Well, the homie Chris says, how about Sebastian Stan for either Hush, Scarecrow, or Man-Bat for some body horror?
Sebastian Stan would be awesome as Man-Bat or Hush, I think.
You don't see him as Scarecrow though.
No. I think the next person that plays Scarecrow has to play them more over the top than we saw in Dark Knight. Because you can't go less.
Yeah, it's got to be like a real kind of concealed charisma. It's tricky to play a character like Scarecrow.
I think I want the next Scarecrow to kind of lean more into the way they are in the Arkham games, where they're kind of more akin to Mysterio a little bit with the mind games. I would like to see something like that, and Sebastian Stan can't pull that shit off unless, he gives you the drug and you're just forced to watch to listen to him voice acting for hours at a time.
God damn it.
That'd make me want to claw my skin off.
Oh, shit. That's so fucked up. Didn't he do a little bit better in season 2?
He did do better in season 2.
Okay. I think he'll be back for season 3. Maybe he'll just get better every season,
Yeah, I'll be honest, like, Sebastian Stan, number one, there's no reason he shouldn't be playing Luke Skywalker, right?
It's true.
Him and Mark Hamill look...
I'm assuming they're saving money doing it the way they are.
Yeah. I mean, they can CGI Mark Hamill onto Sebastian Stan if they want to. I don't care. But
it'd be easier.
Yeah. But either way, I think there's quite a few things he could do. Hush is a good one. I could actually really see that one.
That is a good one.
I actually think he could be a good Harvey Dent.
Ooh.
Clean him up, cut the hair, right. Give him his The Martian look. Mm-hmm. Clean cut.
From the movie, not like he's an alien.
No, from the movie The Martian. Yeah. The clean cut, short hair, the baby face, whatever. I could actually see him really killing it with that prosthetic,
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah.
That'd be good. As it stands, I don't know if we ever get a better Two-Face than we got in The Dark Knight. Aaron Eckhart kind of killed that.
As it stands.
God damn it.
You just been teeing him up there lately.
I have. I need to tighten my game up, son. It's the rum and coke.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Aren't you glad I didn't have one?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I was like, I'm already all the way up.
All the way up.
All the way up.
Well, speaking of all the way up, man, now that we're 42 minutes into this, man.
We promised.
Yeah, we did.
But your feedback is always so important to us, and we always want to address it on air. So, hey, if you got some thoughts or whatever, put them out there.
Put them out there, and if I am sober and if I remember, we will definitely talk about them on the podcast.
So, going into our review, introductions in order first.
They are in order. Homies, one and all, welcome back to another very special episode of the Superhero Homies podcast. My name is Quentin, and as always, I am here with the most intelligent man that I can find at this time of day. I am here with one of the most incredulous people that you could ever meet. This man was actually supposed to be a part of the Olympic boxing team, but he decided to opt out due to a last-minute injury. He didn't want to fuck anyone up with one arm. That would really demoralize them. Other than that, he's a pretty stand-up guy. I'm here with the good homie Caleb.
Yeah, I'm waiting until I'm 65 so I can start collecting my Social Security and then I can fight Jake Paul.
Hell yeah. That's the move.
Yeah. So, what's going on, everybody? I'm glad to be here. We're reviewing The Penguin. And since this is a TV show that just recently ended, we want to go ahead and give a spoiler warning here. Once we start this review, it's going to be full spoilers for The Penguin TV show. So, if you have not checked it out, go do so. Hit that pause button and then come right back to us once you finish it up. And hopefully we can, elaborate on it a little bit for you.
Yep. There you have it. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and get right into things. The Penguin. This was a very interesting TV show going into simply because didn't really know what to expect with this one. It is 8 episodes long. The show has now come to a close. Caleb, let me go ahead and know what you think, man.
So I think it's important for me to give a little pretense here. What would you score the Batman? Like 9? 9.5? Somewhere? It's high.
I gave it somewhere in there, yeah.
I know you and the homie Kevin both. It was like 9+ for you.
Yep.
I gave it a 7.5. And I have caught so much shit for that. And let me explain. A 7.5 is above average. You know, I'm not saying that it wasn't good.
And listen, if any woman tells you that that's not above average, she is lying to you.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I'll be honest, you know, if I come over to Smash and I'm like, hey, girl, 1 to 10, and she's like 7.5, I'm like, see you next Tuesday. You know what I mean? Yeah. Now, if she was like 4.5, I'd be like, well, you know.
I'll give you the rest later.
Yeah. I'm just saying, you know, I have some issues with the Batman that I will not go into here because we are already really far into this. Some of those same issues carry over to the Penguin for me. Ultimately, though, I think that you have to go into this show knowing what it is. And what it is it's a incredible in-depth character study of this one character, of Oswald Cobb. Mm-hmm. And I am glad they changed his name because Oswald Cobblepot is kind of redonkulous, you know? But as a character study, I highly recommend it. I thoroughly enjoy it. I don't know that the actual plot was incredibly fulfilling to me. I don't know that it has a lot of momentum. And we'll get into that. I especially thought that I don't want to say anticlimactic, but I guess that's kind of what it is. Like, the finale to me, it's just sort of like, for the most part, everything that happens in the finale is the most obvious conclusion to a couple of different plot lines, save for maybe Oz himself. And I think in a character study, that's okay. You know? I do think that this elevates him as a Batman villain in Matt Reeves' universe immensely. Yeah. Like, I mean, right now, there are very few villains in cinema in any franchise with this much build up and thorough just
he's got a lot of heat right now.
Right. Yeah, a lot of heat and a lot of being held under the microscope. We understand this guy tremendously.
Yeah.
You know. What about you, man?
You know, shows like this are right up my alley. And then you add a Batman theme on top of it, and what am I supposed to do? What's the guy supposed to do in this situation? Don't get me wrong, I don't think that this show is perfect, but I think for what they were trying to do, I feel like they definitely succeeded. I think that this show, like you said, I think they elevated some people. And not just the Penguin, but I think they did the same thing with Sophia as well. Sophia El Gigante Falcone. You know, like her. I mean, you look at who that character is in the comics, and off of my kind of half tipsy head, I think she only appears in like The Long Halloween and Haunted Night. I think that's about it. But you know, outside of that, you don't really see much of her. And to see what they do with her character here in this show, I thought was also very, very cool. And obviously we'll get more into the performances later, but hers has got to be lauded.
Absolutely.
I think that the theme of this show is also pretty damn spot on. But it's like you said, this is a character study for the Penguin, for who this character is and who he is as a person. And I think in that regard, yeah, it absolutely did what it needed to do. I do understand your frustration though with the finale. I understand, because if you're expecting something more powerful or something more concrete, you're not going to get that. But you also have to take into account that he's got to do something for the Batman sequel, and so whatever they do with him, it's got to lead to that.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not like they can really do anything super definite or final with this character, because where he ends up at, it's got to be in the place where Batman gets his hands on him again.
Yeah, I mean, let's just right here.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, do you think that the Penguin is the main villain for Batman 2?
No.
Would you rather see him as sort of the almost like they use Scarecrow in the Dark Knight trilogy, where it's like he's the through line secondary villain.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what they're gonna do.
I agree. I think he has a bigger role than he had in the first one.
Yeah, because
he's got to.
Yeah, I mean, he takes up a bigger role in Gotham than he did in the first one now.
Yeah.
You know?
He's basically the king of the underground right now.
Yeah, I mean, there's no more Maroni, there's no more Falcone. Like, they're gone. So, yeah, he's the guy now. In terms of, like, underground mob boss type shit, that's him.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so much I want to get into here. I will say this, as much as I did thoroughly enjoy the finale, I will say this: it was a bit slow for a finale.
Yeah.
So again, like I didn't think this was perfect, but it gave me what I wanted.
This show is a lot more in the vein of it plays out closer to Sopranos, but it's shot more like The Wire. You know?
Yeah, that is an interesting way to look at it there.
Yeah, but it's definitely that sort of TV show, you know, like I'll be honest, if you enjoy any kind of crime dramas, Breaking Bad, The Shield, any of those, you probably enjoy this.
Yeah.
They're not really exactly like any of the shows I've named. I mean, it's probably, I guess Sopranos is probably the closest, you know, it's more of it has a mob feel for sure. Gangs in New York.
Yeah. Where this show for me just absolutely knocks out of the park is they not only do they never forget what a villain is, they remind the audience.
Yes.
And I mean, just in terms of presenting a bad guy as your lead character, there's not a whole lot of other shows that do it on this kind of level. Everybody wants the character to have some sort of redemption. Everybody wants the character to have some kind of change of heart. Even if they're bad, they want to see them do something good. And Oz Cobb is Oz Cobb from the beginning of the show until the end of the show. And I mean, he's irredeemable scum. And I love that for him.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's parallels to, you know, my favorite show of all time, which is The Shield.
Right.
ASMR. You know, the main character is a detestable fucking human being.
Yep. From the beginning of the show
until the end of the show.
Until the end of the show.
And The Shield had a lot more episodes to do it. Mm-hmm. So, you know, they had a lot more time, but The Shield is very much the same way. It's like they will take the main character who is a bad person.
Yep.
And then they will juxtapose them against someone who is a little better and someone who is a little worse. Mm-hmm. All bad.
Yep.
But, okay, here's someone who's also willing to look the other way on some things. Maybe not as bad of a person, but still morally corrupt. Then here's a person who's just evil as shit.
Yep.
You know, or insane or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then they will show you the humanity also of that person and get you to sympathize with them. And that's so important because by being able to sympathize with someone who we know is a villain, to be able to sympathize with some aspect of them, it reminds us that we can become that.
Yep.
Because as we have discussed, we are all the protagonists in our own story. Mm-hmm. So it's very easy for us to look at something and always see ourselves as the good guy. Yeah. We're Goku. We're Clark.
Right.
We're Batman. Uh-huh. You know, but in something like this, it also holds up a mirror to the viewer. Yeah. How much are you okay with for the sake of liking this character? Yeah. And I gotta say, by the end of this shit, if you still are rooting for this guy, because that's one thing I really loved about it. It's like at the beginning. Mm-hmm. You're like, Colin Farrell's such a good performance. Yeah. You know, and it's like, you know, this guy, you know, he's handicapped. Right. You know what I mean? These other mobsters treat him like shit. He's just trying to get his comeuppance. Uh-huh. By the end of the show, you're just like,
I hope Batman beats the bejesus out of you.
Yeah, relentlessly. Yeah. Where do we want to start here, man? We want to start with the cast?
Let's start there, man. Yeah, let's go there.
I mean, what more could we really say about Colin Farrell? as the Penguin here. I mean, this is the definitive role of a lifetime for him, I think.
And so many people, myself included, were perplexed at that casting.
Me too.
You know?
And then when you saw him, you were like, what the fuck?
Yeah, when I first saw him, I think he was in one of the trailers for the Batman a couple years ago. And I was thinking, that's Colin Farrell?
He's unrecognizable.
Yes.
He's completely transformed.
And then when he transforms physically with the prosthetics, like he also transforms mentally as well. Like he becomes that character.
Yeah, the prosthetics almost... I mean, the prosthetics are just so good, right? Because when you first see him, you know, you think, okay, well, it's just like the neck up and they got him in like a fat suit or whatever. But it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
Because like episode, I think 2 or 3 of this, we actually see him like shirtless and he gets stabbed or shot or whatever. Yeah. And you're just like, oh shit.
Yeah, it's like a whole thing.
Yeah. And it looks incredibly believable.
It does.
You know?
Yeah. But he's so good at this role and at just playing and it's almost to the point also where like, you know, you forget about that accent that he has in real life too. Is he Irish or Scottish?
Yeah, it's one of those.
Yeah.
He's one of the issues. Yeah. And you see him in the interview and you're just like, the fuck?
Right. Like, who is this guy and where's the Penguin at?
It's like when you see Charlie Cox in an interview.
Right. Oh, no, when I met Charlie Cox, I was like... I was like, wait a minute. Like, say that shit again? Because that was not Daredevil speaking.
Say again?
Yeah.
Oh, man. He was something else in this. And if he doesn't win an Emmy for this shit,
bro,
I mean, the performance is uncanny. And it really reminds me a lot, you know, to an extent about, you know, why there's this aura for Heath Ledger's Joker, right? He was so transformative in that even if you knew Heath Ledger as an actor from other projects, when you see him in that, you're like, that's not him.
Yeah.
And him dying before the movie came out, I think just exponentially added to that. Because it's like the mystique of the character, this is not someone you could possibly run into.
Right.
They're not going to be sitting in the third row at the Oscars.
You fucking hope not.
Right? Yeah, if they are, someone's a necromancer.
Right.
And we have other problems. Because necromantic Joker would be horrifying.
Holy shit. Yeah, that's awful.
But, yeah, I mean, that just really added to it, you know? And so that's kind of how this is here, is it's like, this isn't a real person. This person doesn't exist. It's a figment of Colin Farrell's mind mixed with this suit, you know? It's just crazy.
It is. And seeing how he's able to portray this character is so impressive to me, because alongside the writing, what we get is a character who is humanized but not good.
Correct.
And that is so hard to pull off. I'll be honest, like, it's not an easy thing to do.
Right. Because we see the struggles that he has. But it's like, yeah, he's a villain. He does have struggles. It's how he reacts to those struggles that makes him a villain.
Right.
You know?
Man, let's talk about Sophia.
Yeah, Kristen Milioti.
Yes.
Which sounds like a Gotham City villain anyway.
Right.
She was the definitive Sophia Falcone. I mean, I think she's the only live action person to play her.
She's the only one, yeah.
But, I mean, very much in the vein of, like, Tony Stark.
Yeah.
This is definitive.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard for someone else to play this character.
It's to the point where I know that this didn't happen, but I wouldn't have been surprised if they originally had her dying and then they saw her performance and thought, we should maybe change this.
Yeah.
You know? She's that good.
She was tremendous.
Yeah.
She steals every fucking scene.
Oh, my goodness. I mean, she is unnerving, and she makes you as the audience feel unsettled. And it's like there's just crazy behind her eyes, you know? She's got Bill Skarsgård eyes, you know?
Yeah. When I saw her in that dress in the finale, I was like, oh, my God. I was like, this woman will ruin my whole life.
Right. Yeah, I seen people online saying that, yeah, I fight Batman for her. I was like, y'all don't see enough Batman.
Yeah, yeah. You really haven't. It's like there's not going to be a fight.
Right.
You get me in the hospital for 9 to 12 months.
Exactly.
And then, like, you still can't go near her when you get out because Batman's going to show up and beat the shit out of you
again. Yeah. It's not going to be worth it.
Yeah, you going to break into Arkham for her?
Shit. Just get a job there. That's what theorize did.
That's true, yeah.
Julian Rush. We'll talk about him later on, too. But, yeah, I mean, hell, what can we say about her performance here as Sophia Falcone that isn't already so obvious?
I mean, they took a relatively unknown character and made them a star. And that's what you got to do.
Yeah.
I think it's unfortunate that Matt Reeves' Batman is not in the DCU. Because it's just upsetting that he has all these really awesome universe building blocks that they're not going to get to use.
I'm kind of indifferent on that because the Batman world, just the Gotham world as his own, is so big.
Yeah.
That there's still so many different fun toys they can play with.
Well, I just mean like the ones that are proven successes now, right?
But also, I don't know how well they will fit in with the more fantastic, what I assume would be the more fantastical DCU.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean, I'm probably overall glad that it's separate, but it's just from a franchise standpoint, it's like, look at all these successful things that Matt Reeves is doing.
Yeah.
And it's just like the DCU version is going to have to work that much harder when they get to Batman,
right.
To stand out from the Matt Reeves version and to be as good, if not better, because it really needs to be better.
Yeah.
It can be different and better, but I mean, it needs to be better.
I don't know about better, but different for sure.
Yeah, but it needs to be both.
Ultimately. I mean, it would be great.
I mean, you don't want your main central Batman to be constantly compared to this offshoot one, and and to be seen as lesser.
That was going to happen even if the Batman didn't exist. That's just going to happen with Batman in general. People are going to compare him to Bale.
That's true.
Compare Bale to, so that was. I don't think you can escape that.
Yeah, but you remember when Bale was Batman and they had that the fucking Arrowverse was ballooning. Christopher Nolan was like, "Hey, don't let me hear them say none of these fucking characters' names on that show."
Yeah,
he was like, "There is one Batman.
Right.
His name is Christian motherfucking Bale, and that's it. Yeah. And there will be nobody else dressed up like Batman, nothing." And there's a reason that Christopher Nolan mandated that is that there has to be, I think, a definitive, when you're dealing with the cinema, I think you have to have a definitive version of the character. Like, it'd be fine to have a Peter and a Miles because those are both Spider-Men, but they're two different characters.
Right.
But to have two Bruce Waynes and to have the Elseworlds version be seen as superior to the mainline franchise one, I think that would be a bad thing.
You might be in for a bit of disappointment because the way that I'm thinking is it's going to be a lot like... Bear with me here.
Oh, shit.
So, you know how we got Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, and he's now part of the MCU.
Right.
And we see him as like the definitive performance of Wolverine.
Yes.
With all that he's done. When we get a live action X-Men movie that doesn't have Hugh Jackman in it, that Wolverine will be a lot like the Wolverine from X-Men 97.
Yep.
Whereas he is not going to be in like a super... He's obviously going to be in it.
Right.
And he's going to have some cool moments, but he won't be like the standout.
Yeah.
And it won't be what Hugh Jackman did. And people are going to compare those two. And when they do, some people, especially if they're big fans of Wolverine, they're going to say, I like Hugh Jackman's more.
And Hugh Jackman's probably still going to be playing him until he's fucking 90. Here's the thing about that, though, is I think that Wolverine will be a character in the X-Men franchise. I don't think they're going to make, at least not soon.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to make a Wolverine movie.
Right.
With that new Wolverine in it. Unless he's just incredible and then they want to make a Wolverine movie, but I feel like that's way down the line.
Yeah. My personal thoughts is that you do start with the solo Wolverine movie because he can make $1 billion on his own, and the X-Men can make $1 billion without Wolverine. So, 2 birds, 1 stone kind of thing.
I would probably go X-Men movie with no Wolverine in it. Mm-hmm. In credits tease is Wolverine. Wolverine movie. Mm-hmm. Then in credits and Wolverine is Xavier finding him.
Yeah.
And then he's in the second X-Men. That's probably how I would do it.
That's a good approach.
Because the main thing is, I think for a lot of people, this is certainly for me, I don't want it to be Wolverine and the X-Men. Mm-hmm. I just don't want that shit. I want the X-Men with Wolverine in it. You know, if you're going to do that with a character, do it with fucking Storm.
That is hilarious. I literally looked at a book.
And there's the Wolverine and the X-Men. Yeah, I know this behind me, yeah. If you want to make it Storm and the X-Men, I'm fine with that. If you want to make it Magneto and the X-Men, I'm fine with that.
But to bring this back in, though, I guess the reason why, like, I'm concerned for your reception for the DCU Batman is I think it's going to be a lot like what Wolverine is going to be like when he's introducing the X-Men. I think that the Brave and the Bold, if I had to wager, it's going to have more than just Damian in there.
I think they're going to go Bat Family.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with that, but whoever's playing Bruce has got to be.
They've
dope.
got to bring it, and it's got to be phenomenal. You're right.
They can't be like old Ian Glenn in Titans.
Oh, fuck.
And I like Ian Glenn.
I do too.
Don't get me wrong.
That was a complete and total miscast.
He could be an Alfred though.
Yeah,
he would have been a great Alfred.
Yeah. Like
he could still be Alfred.
He's like built in Alfred. Yeah.
Actually, can he play Alfred in Brave and the Bold? Actually, can we get that done?
Right.
I only have Kevin Feige's number. I don't have.
Oh, you don't have? Oh, okay.
No, James Gunn's on my phone.
Oh, I have James Gunn.
Okay,
So I got you.
Yeah.
There's no worries.
Yeah.
He used to fed me all this information, by the way.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Tell him I said McConaughey.
I would do no such thing.
We've gone off the rails.
We have.
Let's talk about Victor Aguilar.
Yes.
Who was, I think, a lot of people's favorite in this.
Which it was so brilliant to, first of all, for the actor to do such a good job.
Yeah.
But also for the writing to set this character up in that position.
He was the audience surrogate.
Yep.
For this crime world. Mm-hmm. And, you know, obviously we said at the beginning, full spoilers. I think we all knew from jump that Penguin was going to fucking kill this kid.
It was, for me, it was like a highly suspected thing that Penguin was going to kill this kid.
Either that Penguin was going to kill him or one of the other crime families was going to kill him to get it at Oz.
Yeah, I was leaning more towards the latter, that maybe Sophia or, Maroni are going to kill this kid. But as the show goes on, what happens is that, like, feeling overrides logic, and I started to think, we might see this kid in, like, the Batman sequel. Like, he could be an underling that gets his ass beat, That'd be cool to see. And, we get to the and here's where it really took me off. Like, I watched the episode came out on Sunday. I watched it on Monday. That time in between on social media, I saw people, they didn't post spoilers, but they would all post things like, I hope Batman beats the shit out of Penguin. And I was like, oh no, what happens? And it got me thinking, what could Penguin do that would make me want to see Batman just completely and utterly beat the shit out of this guy? And I was like, if he did something to Victor, that would do it.
Those last 2 episodes, man.
Yeah.
He is full on fucking demonic level villain in those last 2.
Oh my goodness.
From the murdering of his brothers. Mm-hmm. And like, they didn't make it sympathetic at all. It wasn't like his brothers were mean to him.
No.
They seemed like they were all right kids. Mm-hmm. I could see if, like, as soon as they got out of the house, his brothers, like, kicked the shit out of him or something, Like, his brothers just were horrible to him behind his mom's back or anything. Nah, she just also loved them.
Yeah, and how dare she?
How dare she? And so he fucking drowned them. And, like, the crazy thing about it, man, is just like, yeah, I could see a child doing the initial, like, oh, I'm going to lock the door. Mm-hmm. But to sit there for hours on end, knowing that they are drowning
it's
in there.
Fucking sick.
Is like, this is a sick, twisted fucking person. And to see all the shit with his mom and like how he basically has held her prisoner for all these years.
Right.
I mean, the shit he did to Victor, I mean, it is awful.
Penguin kind of has an Oedipus complex, doesn't he?
Oedipus.
Yeah.
I was actually going to get into that. That's actually like the big reveal, honestly, is the just classic Oedipus complex of Oswald. Oswald Cobb. Yeah. I don't know why I messed it up there, but
it's the coconut rum.
I didn't have any.
Oh,
you did. Oh. But yeah, Oz Cobb here. It's interesting to see them, that kind of play out. Mm-hmm. And I love how in the earlier episode they really foreshadowed it when Sophia goes to see Eve.
Yeah.
And that's actually one of my favorite scenes in the whole show. Because Sophia, in a lot of ways, if we're going to make the Shield comparison here, she's not quite the same, but she's kind of like Lim, right?
Okay.
Where Lim is okay with them beating up suspects. If we just got to mildly torture this dealer so he gives up the guy ahead of him,
right?
That's fine. That's greater good, Oh, we gonna take this drug dealer's money and go have a barbecue or whatever. All right, he didn't earn it. He's a drug dealer. Fuck him. Yeah. But Lim has too much of a heart to be in that game, and you see what happens. Yep. Sophia's the same way. It's like she wants to be this powerful overlord of the underworld, but we see so many times where her morality stands in between her and being able to do that. The reason that Oz comes out on top is not because he outmaneuvered her at every turn. There were several times where she could have pulled a trigger on him.
Oh yeah. There
were several times where she could have killed his mom. Mm-hmm. She could have killed Victor. She could have killed Eve.
Yeah.
And honestly, had she done any of those things, she probably would have come out on top. Mm-hmm. But she wasn't ruthless enough, She didn't mind killing her fucking asshole family because fuck them. Yeah. I mean, she saved the little girl, and we see it there.
Well, she did the same thing to that little girl that her dad did to her.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Sophia ever really recognized that.
I think she did after she left that room. Mm. But on that same note, though, she wouldn't have had that loose end. She wasn't willing to go that far. Yeah. And that's really what ends up being her Achilles heel here in this show.
Oh yeah. Yeah, like when she is torturing Oz's mom and she's like, just tell the truth about what you did, and he just won't.
He no.
It was to the point where I was almost being convinced, like, maybe his mom's dementia is like an unreliable narrator, and he actually didn't.
No.
Yeah.
No, I saw this shit, and I was like, no, this motherfucker is full on Eric Cartman villain. I was like, he is completely convinced that he didn't do this shit. Mm-hmm. And he thinks that he's convinced himself his mom doesn't know.
Yeah. Yeah. And
that scene was crazy, man.
Oh, my gosh.
He was going to let them cut her finger off.
Yeah.
He was going to let them torture her. He wasn't going to say it.
Right.
And then she was like, motherfucker, I already know.
Yeah, I already fucking know.
Yeah. His mom was tremendous, too.
She was.
I don't want to skip over Victor here. Mm-hmm. I felt so bad for this kid all the way through. Right.
So, I'm not the first to do this. I believe a lot of people online have already done this, but like, you look at like the comparisons of like this kid, of Victor versus like Jason Todd, and it's like the comparisons there are they're so uncanny that you have to wonder if they were done on purpose, you know?
Right.
For those of you who don't know, like, Jason Todd, like, I believe in his first appearance when Batman finds him, he's walking back to the Batmobile that he parked in the alley, and fucking Jason's trying to steal the rims on the bitch.
Yeah.
And Batman doesn't hold him up at gunpoint. Obviously, we know what happens. He takes him in and eventually becomes a Robin, and then he meets an unfortunate demise, at the hands of the Joker. You look at Victor here, and Vic, he's in a very similar situation to what Jason Todd was in. He's a kid who's really down on his luck, running with the bad crew, and he's trying to boost the rims on Penguin's car. And man, Penguin looks at his ID and hears the poor kid stutter and decides to take the kid in, and he's going to have him do some dirty work for him. And then a very twisted relationship begins. It is very possible, as a matter of fact, it's more common than not, that your abuser will do good things for you and will teach you things and will do things that help you. But that doesn't mean that they're not your abuser.
Yeah.
And that's the relationship here between Oz and Victor.
Yeah, I mean, it's borderline Stockholm Syndrome.
Yeah.
Especially when he decides not to leave, right? And it even gets to the point where, Oz is like, yeah, go,
Right.
And the whole time, you're watching that episode, you're like, well, he's not going to leave. Mm-hmm. From that moment, I was like, we're going to watch him corrupt this kid. And I thought that was such a cool through line.
Yeah.
To see how someone who never had the ambition or the opportunity, how you could corrupt them morally by giving them those things. Mm-hmm. And that happens a lot in capitalism, It really does. It's like if we're going to create a system that is designed to starve you of resources, then what will you then do for those resources?
Right.
And that's, in a microcosm, what we have here. And it goes fucking terribly.
It was awful. Poor fucking Victor, man. Yeah, he does a lot of shit here, but he's also a victim, he even goes so far as to kill a man, essentially to protect Oz.
Squid, was that his name?
I think that was his name. Yeah,
that dude was a douchebag anyway.
He was. No one misses Squid.
He fucked around and found out. He tried to bully this kid. He was like, "Yeah, I've been bullying this kid forever."
Right.
Yeah, man. Okay.
All right.
Dude got a gun now.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just unfortunate for you. His aim wasn't perfect.
Yeah. That was awful.
God damn. I was like, shoot him again, Vic. Damn.
Yeah, dog. Yeah, don't just point blank in the dome, man. Right. This dude seems like a douchebag, but I don't think he deserves to just sit here.
Right.
Inhaling his own bloodstream. Fuck.
Yeah, man.
That was hard to watch, man.
Like, it was.
There's so many things in this show that are just you see just how deranged the characters are willing to be and like what lengths they're willing to go to.
And then like with Victor, it makes it even worse because had he had like a positive influence, he would have turned out probably pretty great.
Yeah. Yeah, that episode where his parents get killed by the floods.
Yeah.
That was crazy, man. Bruh. And I got to say too, to give this show a ton of credit, man, is like I love how the events of the Batman, how you feel them throughout this whole show.
Yeah.
Constantly. And I like how the events of that movie, how it set up so perfectly to, for all this to happen. Because there's a huge power vacuum after that movie. And this is about how that gets filled and everything that goes on in the process.
Yeah. And it's a fucking ugly world, man. And there's still so much fucking corruption left.
Yeah.
So it's definitely not all gone.
Yeah, I mean, we see so much of it here, man. Like the devastation from the Riddler's plot in the Batman. I think that's also a negative for me, though. I hated I hated the last few seconds where they cut the bat signal on. I hated it.
Really?
I hated that shit so bad. Because I'm like, okay, all right, so let me get this straight. In the beginning of the Batman, y'all are cutting this thing on for like petty crimes and shit. Like, somebody robbed a CVS. Let's flip on the bat signal. But like, the entire largest crime family, the entire Falcone family was just murdered in their house. Batman was all tied up in that shit. He just got Carmine killed like a week ago. Like,
hey, dog, look, some things Batman's just too busy for.
The police commissioner came there himself. They didn't cut on the bat signal then?
Hey,
they didn't cut on the bat signal when someone blew a fucking hole in the middle of the of a major intersection.
Hey, dog, look, if it happens during the daylight, he can't do shit about that. All right. and secondly, like, think of it this way. At the end of Batman Begins, Jim Gordon's like, yeah, man, there's this new maniac running around. I guess he's the Joker or whatever. And Batman's like, I'll look into it. And then, like, 3 years later, he's like, who's the Joker?
I'm just saying, man, I hated that, like, we're just going to cut on the light.
Well, another thing is, like, the times that we see the light go on here, we don't know why they turned it on.
Yeah.
You know?
That's true.
But I think, like, the way I took that is, like, obviously a symbolic gesture for Riddler. I mean, not Riddler, but Penguin has to watch his ass now.
Right.
He thinks that he's won and that he can now kind of breathe easier. And when in reality, he has a whole other problem to deal with again.
Yeah. What'd you think about Mr. Krabs himself? Clancy Brown. He has been on a roll lately.
Yeah.
His role in Punisher,
right?
Excellent. His role in Code V,
yeah.
And his role here.
Is he always a bad guy?
Yeah, I think so. He's always a douchebag.
He also voiced Deathstroke in like the original Teen Titans cartoon, didn't he?
Yeah. What'd you think of him as Salvatore Maroni?
Yeah. He was great, man. I really dug what he had here. And I love how like we get to see the distinct differences between Maroni and Falcone.
Yeah.
And how there's like an interesting kind of mutual respect from each party. Like clearly they don't like each other, but there's still a respect there. Yeah, I thought this performance was really good though. You know, to the point where, like, to a degree, you kind of want to see him get revenge for the shit that...
Bruh. The shit that he did to his family.
Bruh.
I gotta say, though, the way his end was, I hated it.
Just the random heart attack.
All right, I'm just going to have a random heart attack. Whoever wrote that shit... I
didn't like that either, because... do we have any indication even before that?
No.
It's one of those things where even if we do get indication of that, I still wouldn't love it. But...
The fact that it's just random.
Yeah, it makes it even worse, you know.
Like, if I get that they wanted to do this thing where Oz is denied his big showboat moment that he wants for this because he is incredibly dramatic. He wants to be theatrical and get this I beat you moment, and he's denied that. But, like, I mean, he could have had him... he could have touched the live wire. He jabs him in the throat.
Yeah.
You know? Thinking, and he just gets a lucky shot in, and he fucking collapses his windpipe or whatever.
Well, I mean, if they wanted to be happenstance, he could have touched a live wire. I'm sure there were plenty down there in that tonal system. You know?
Right.
Like, there's tons of ways that they could have gotten rid of Maroni other than random heart attack.
In the middle of the fight.
Yeah. Granted, if one is going to have a heart attack, yeah, it'd be during the fight. But still, it just, you know, it just didn't really add up. You could also feel Maroni's loss in the show, right? Like,
yeah.
You know, like he lost so much.
Everything.
He lost, his son, his wife, his empire, you know? So when he's getting his comeuppance on the Penguin, a part of you, because Penguin is the protagonist of the show, or the lead character in the show, you're like, oh, come on, Penguin, you know, you got to get out of this. But then on the other hand, I was thinking, you got this coming to you.
Yeah. Yeah, really. I mean, he wasn't smart enough, you know. He couldn't fathom, and this is actually one of the things that Penguin is able to get away with. that a lot of, this is kind of how he's able to get where he's at, is Salvatore tells him early in the show, you were always Carmine's errand boy. They let you drive his daughter around. They all underestimated him.
Yeah.
Everyone, his own mother, Carmine, Sophia, Sophia's brother. What the fuck? Alberto.
Yeah, he dies at the beginning of episode 1.
Yeah, dude. I mean,
wow.
For Alberto to just be able to think he could just talk shit right to the man's face like that. Yeah. And Salvatore the same way from day one. Oh, you're just Falcon's errand boy. He never thought that Penguin could inspire the loyalty in people that he did to be able to pull this off, and that he had the wherewithal to pull it off.
Yeah.
And they were all wrong.
They were all very wrong.
Other than Sophia, he was a step ahead of everybody. Mm-hmm. And he was a step ahead of Sophia sometimes. And sometimes she'd be ahead of him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, what was it, in episode 3 or 4? Like, when they first got like the deal with the drugs or whatever. Yeah. And if that shit didn't go sideways, then he may have remained a step ahead of Sophia.
Yeah.
But no, that shit hit the fucking fan.
And she knew he killed him from jump.
I think it did throw her off when what episode was it? 1 or 2, when the car comes careening into the compound and Alberto's body is back there. And it looks like a Maroni deal. Yeah. That was a good play.
It was, yeah.
And because it definitely threw the scent off of him, at least for that bit.
He's like, where I was, bitch. I was right here.
Right. Yeah, man. Let's talk about Dr. Julian Rush.
I really still don't know what to think about him.
He's such a weird guy, right?
He is a very odd dude.
Okay, so I'm just gonna. I mean, you may have already seen it. It's been making the rounds, but the paraphernalia on his desk. I'll admit, because it's only on his desk for one scene, and all the other times it's not there. And that is, of course, if you guys don't know, there's a shot when Sophia is walking around his desk, and you see in the background on his desk a shot of a glove with syringes on it, and then on the other end of the desk there is what looks to be like a sackcloth mask.
Yeah.
And is he Scarecrow?
I think very much. It's very likely. I mean, he works at an insane asylum.
Right. He takes a lot of joy in it.
Yeah, check. And he obviously has incredibly studied the art of hypnosis, and the thing they do with his mom is a real thing. It's what's it called? I know this. I'm familiar with this. I've seen this and I've heard about it.
Yeah, like the. Yeah, I don't know what you call that shit though, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, EMDR is what it's called, and this is a legitimate thing where they do this kind of like flashing lights thing, and they have trauma victims relive traumatic memories with it, and so it's very much along the lines of what he does with his mom. Yeah, and although they kind of go like damn near Inception with it. Yeah, for the cinematic flair, but it's a real thing. Huh. And apparently it's very helpful. I actually know.
I was going to say, that sounds like a dick move. Like, what you think I want to relive that?
Well, it's like exposure therapy, They teach you to be able to cope with it. So. Yeah. I actually know somebody that's actually had that treatment, and that's why I was knew about it. And when I saw it in the movie, I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. But it's usually not all that dramatic, with you're sitting there. I think now they actually just have have you put a pair of glasses on, and it just kind of does it. Yeah. So
interesting.
They don't have to sit there with the fucking giant LED panel behind them.
Where's the fun in that, though?
Yeah, yeah. But I think they are strongly hinting at him being Scarecrow, but not strong enough to where they have to fulfill it.
Yeah.
Like, I think they can just have him around.
Yeah.
You know, they can pay it off if they want.
Another theory that I was leaning more towards until I saw the glove and the mask was Mad Hatter.
Yeah.
You know, I thought that could have also made a lot of sense too. But as it stands, so some people may be wondering, okay, well, if it's Scarecrow, then what's it with the name change? I think that, look at this guy. It's clearly a case of malpractice, and he has changed identities.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, and also that with, you know, combined with the corruption in Gotham, the corruption in Arkham, I don't think that he would have any problem with a simple name change and getting a job.
Yeah, I mean,
In a similar, right? You know, like Jonathan Crane to Julian Rush is not that big of a stretch.
Also, if they called him Jonathan Crane, it's a dead giveaway. Mm-hmm. We all would have just been like, oh, hey, you know, the Leo meme.
Yeah. How would you feel if he came back in the Batman 2 and they made good on that?
I don't know if he could carry the movie as the main villain.
Yeah.
But I could totally see a situation where it's like whoever they go with for the main villain. Let's say they go with Riddler. Or, well, no, can't do Riddler. They did Riddler in the first one.
Right.
Let's say they go with like a Two-Face or something like that. I could totally see them. They go to Penguin and are like, hey, you know, Penguin, I need this.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I got just a guy. And he puts him in touch with, you know, Scarecrow, you know, that kind of thing. So I could see that happening.
Yeah.
It'd be hilarious if, like, you find out that Penguin paid him off to, like, torment Sophia in Arkham or whatever.
That would be.
I don't know, though. He seems pretty loyal to her.
Yeah, I don't think he would do it. He was really into whatever kind of kink sex they were doing.
That shit seemed uncomfortable, didn't it?
Right.
But no kink shame here. To each their own. I'm just saying it seemed uncomfortable to me.
If you like it, I love it. You know?
Yeah, by all means.
Yeah, do your thing.
They recast Carmine here.
They did. They got Mark Strong.
Yeah, I was like, you got like a damn near more famous person than you had in the movie.
Yeah. Oh. Because it was John Turturro, right?
Yeah.
In the Batman, which he did phenomenal in the Batman.
I liked both of them.
Me too.
You know? So
same. I mean,
it's probably just a scheduling thing.
From what I heard, it was actually, because I thought the same thing. But from what I heard, and I don't want to misquote him, but I think he said he didn't want to come back and do it because of like depicted violence against women. And he didn't want to do that role.
Oh, okay. So, I can see that.
Yeah. He
was a sick fuck.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I was like, they probably should have told you a little bit more about your character before, you know.
Yeah. I think Eve is the last character here. That's Carmen Ejigo.
Yeah.
I hope I'm not butchering that too bad. She, I really liked her character here too, because you kind of question the whole time if she was just doing exactly what Oz told her to do, or if she has her own game to play.
What's interesting also about her, like from like a nerdy comic booky standpoint, is her last name. Her last name is Carlo.
Yeah.
Basil Carlo is Clayface.
Yeah.
And her whole thing that she even says to Sophia is that she changes to become whoever he needs her to be.
Yeah.
You know, and now I think it's just like a cool wink and a nod to Clayface. I don't think they mean that she is, or maybe she is, because there is definitely a lady Clayface, you know. But I don't think that they're, I think that's just, you know, a wink and a nod. I don't think they're saying that she is Clayface.
The reveal with her was stellar. Where, you know, Sophia had asked her, you know, well, what's he into? He's pretty simple. And then you see her dressed up and everything at the end, and you're just like,
yeah. Yeah.
You know, you're just like, motherfucker. But from a character arc standpoint, it was incredible.
Oh, yeah. And also, I love how, like, there's a question that you can definitely ask, but they tell you it throughout the show, and that is like, okay, Oz kills Victor because he doesn't want anything. He doesn't want any familial ties. He doesn't want anything holding him back. So why does he keep Eve around? You know? And from what I gather, it's because he needs that mommy person.
Yeah. And she does it so well.
Yeah.
She even resembles her.
Right.
And you don't catch on to that till the end when they show her all dressed up like her and everything. Yeah, it's just like we said. It's classic Oedipus complex. Mm-hmm. Also, Victor was like a million loose ends. And he also fucked up all the time.
That's true.
And
but he also saved them 3 times?
Yeah. But from Penguin's point of view, man, like this kid, not only does he knows everything.
Yeah.
And if the cops get him, he's going to crack.
Yeah.
25 seconds, this guy's going to be like, let me tell you, he's the Shane Vendrell. Let me tell you, we did that. We ripped off the drugs and then he burnt the Maronis alive. And,
well, first let me tell you, he killed Alberto. Him, he hid his body.
Yeah.
And then he told me to dismember Alberto's body and put it in the car trunk. And then it just goes down.
Plot point by plot point.
Oh, yeah. Penguin would never see the light of day. Oh, man.
He's incredibly villainous in this. And I love it. I love that they, it's like you said, they make you feel sympathy for him, which you should feel sympathy for a villain, because they're not just going to be 100% mustache twirling evil all the time. That's typically not compelling. But they don't make him sympathetic. Mm-hmm. There's a difference.
Yes, very important distinction there. The way that he kills Victor is so goddamn cold, because if you catch on, you realize he says the exact same thing that he says to Victor when they first meet, and and it's just because he's like, oh, breathe, kid, it's okay, God. But it's fucking rough though, because you have Victor there who's just gasping for breath. And because I thought, okay, he's going to shoot him. No, strangulation it is.
Yeah. I also thought he was going to shoot Sophia. That shit was wild.
Yeah. And it again, I thought the same thing, that he was going to shoot Sophia. But then when you see the cops pull up, and I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. You have the conversation with the councilman, Hattie, I think was his name.
Yeah.
And he promised him something. He's making good on it. That tracks.
Man, you got to be cold as ice to choke somebody to death like that.
Bruh. To choke someone to death like that. And then, your mentee, you know?
And he's, talking to him the whole time. He's like, I don't want you to take this personal. You're a good kid. Bruh. You did a great job.
God, that shit was so fucking cold.
Yeah.
So goddamn cold. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, that was awful.
He's awful. Completely irredeemable at this point.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's nothing he can do that would make... And that's why, they can't do season 2 of this. Not with him as the main character.
Right, no.
Yeah, because there's nothing he can do to redeem himself.
And there's really not much he could do to be worse, We're just going to have him kick puppies for 8 hours, That's going to get old.
Right.
We'll have to have Brendan on for that review.
Oh, no, he would... Brendan would he would tap out before the first episode.
Yeah.
Oh,
for
shit.
Sure.
So let's talk about the Court of Owl rumors.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I must have missed all of this shit.
I think a lot of it is overblown.
Is this the Mephisto of the DC?
A little bit. I'll be honest with you. From my opinion.
So what do they think the congressman is?
So they're taking context clues from things that Matt Reeves has said, combined with certain aesthetic choices throughout the Penguin TV show. And so Matt Reeves has said that the Batman sequel will focus a lot more on the inner corruption of Gotham City.
So Court of Owls would make sense.
That would very much make sense.
Yeah.
And the more I think about it, damn it, the internet, they kind of have a point here. It's suspicious. In one of the final scenes of the Penguin show, when he's talking to the councilman again, they're in the courtroom, and the curtains are shaped just like owls.
They are.
It is a court of owls.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
And for Matt Reeves, that could be a misdirect.
It could be.
But it also could be a straight up setup, because I could totally see this councilman being on the court. Yeah. And because if you look at it, like most of the families that they've been dealing with are the crime families. But if you look at it, the Court of Owls is the people with the pearl clutchers.
Exactly.
You know, it's the rich high society folks.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, that would fucking, spit at fucking Carmine Falcone.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So, they're too uppity for him.
Exactly.
So it would be very interesting if that councilman is like one of their bitches.
Yeah.
And you could see them being opposed to Penguin's kind of rise and influence as well. Mm-hmm. And maybe that's where Batman, kind of steps in. Like maybe some shit goes down and he tries to track it to Penguin. Yeah. And then finds out, no, it's actually this much worse situation.
Like, that's the crazy thing, man. I can see a reality where in the Batman sequel, the Court of Owls, they kill Penguin.
Yeah.
I can definitely see that.
That would be crazy.
Yeah.
I actually want him to be in all 3 Batman movies, though. I want Batman to fuck his car up in each movie. Like, he gets another car, and then Batman fucks up his car.
And then in, like, the 3rd movie, he fucks it up when it's not even necessary.
Yeah, yeah. He gets them, and he's like, leaves them there for the authorities. He's like, oh, I forgot. And he just blows his car up.
Yeah.
And he's like,
he does get the top hat at the end of the show.
Yeah. Or is it a situation, and this may be too close to The Dark Knight, but it could also be a situation where, like, Batman really starts cracking down on him, and then fucking Penguin goes to the court to get their help. And that might be a little too close to Dark Knight's plot, but... And then they kill him, and they're like, "We'll take care of Batman ourselves."
Right? You think we don't fucking know about Batman?
Yeah, yeah. What do you think this is? You don't know about Batman.
You don't know about Batman. Oh shit! Yeah. So the Court of Owls stuff is always interesting because we've never seen them live action.
Yeah, and the one thing I like about it's not the one thing, but one of the things I really like about Batman's version or Matt Reeves' version. Is that the Waynes were not these like goody two shoes white knights,
right? They're kind of corrupt too.
It's entirely possible they could have been on the court.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Not to make this a Batman 2 super speculative podcast, but what do you think about the Robin rumors?
I don't see it.
I don't think it makes sense, especially with The Brave and the Bold.
Yeah.
Being a Batman and Robin movie.
Plus, you've already got Catwoman as damn near a co-lead.
You think she comes back for the sequel?
Absolutely. I mean, they had her the letter to Sophia. Mm-hmm. I don't know where that's going to go.
I'm glad that that's a loose end they tied up, though, because I remember when I was first reading through, the comics, and I put together, you know what? I said, it's kind of interesting because Selena would technically be half sisters with Sophia. Yeah. And I don't think they ever really pay attention to that much in the comics, but they do here.
Yeah. I never thought about it either, but I was like, oh, yeah. Yeah. I was like, she hates that whole family too. She's like, you killed the rest of them?
You killed the rest of them?
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, that is interesting. And you have to wonder what the fallout would be from that, if anything.
Yeah, I really hope they bring Sophia back. I just hope they haven't created all these, too many loose ends for them to actually address. Yeah. Because that movie's going to get real busy.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I think that some of the resolution has to come in the form of another TV show.
Yeah. I mean, do they do another TV show between movies 2 and 3, you think?
It's entirely possible.
Maybe based on another villain?
Yeah. I mean, if we're being honest, we don't get the Batman sequel for another 2 years.
Yeah.
So.
Or more.
Well, no, I think they have said now that they're aiming for October 2026.
Oh, yeah. I thought you meant like the part 3.
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah.
That one, who fucking
2030, probably. Yeah. Yeah, it's taken them a long time to get Batman 2 out.
Yeah, it is.
Because didn't this one come out in 2020?
2022.
Oh, okay. It was that late. Damn. Yep. Okay. It's still a long time. 4 years.
Yeah.
It ain't like that fucking Arcane wait. I feel like the season 1 of Arcane came out like you're not into.
No, I haven't seen it, but
it's good.
I've heard good things.
The animation's very good.
Oh.
A lot of people want Stormlight to be adapted in the way that Arcane has been done.
Interesting. So,
we can't get into that. we don't have time for that, folks. That's a different episode.
If you guys haven't already, be sure to check out the Mistborn review.
Both of them.
Yeah, both of them.
Yeah, we just recently did we recently finished up our Era 1 coverage, and after that, now's where the shit's gonna start to get real.
Oh shit!
The gloves are off. We're gonna start seeing the connections and crossovers and all that stuff. But
oh shit!
I digress. Yeah. What do you? If they do a TV show between 2 and 3, do you think it's centered around another villain?
I would love for it to be centered on the GCPD.
They said that a lot of the elements that they were planning for that show were going to end up in this show. I don't think that happened.
I don't think that happened. I think that's a lie.
Yeah, I think that was bullshit. I will say, though, and this is an observation that I had, so that when he's taking Sophia out to, to the train station at the end, and you think he's just going to kill her, and she thinks he's going to kill her. The two of them were in the car together. And I had this thought. I was like, this TV show does every single thing that Joker 2 tried to do, but it works here and none of it worked there.
Okay, let me think. Expound.
Okay, so one of the things in Joker 2 that they tried to show off is they tried to show Arthur as this, irredeemable but sympathetic villain type character.
Yep.
Completely falls flat.
Yep.
Doesn't work. Makes no fucking sense. Okay. You got the Harley Quinn character, right? Who was supposed to be kind of this fangirl type character, but then it turns out that she actually was manipulative and had her own kind of role to play here. Kind of the same thing they do with Sophia. You look at Sophia's arc, it is almost kind of the opposite of the Harley we get in Joker 2, where, we see the shit that she went through in Arkham and everybody just thinks that she's insane, which she fucking is. Yeah. But, you feel this sympathy for this character, and they are, at times, she seems like she might be the worst out of the two of them in the show. And they kind of compare and contrast, like, the different versions of bad that we have here. As it comes to find out, she's actually nowhere near as bad as he is. Yeah. But, I mean, once again, this is like another kind of theme that the Joker movie tried to do, is this, they tried to interweave these two bad people together. Completely fucking fails. Like, we got the initial idea. It'd be like if you got on a roller coaster and you got to that part where they, up to the top of the hill, and then the thing just kind of circled back around and they let you off. Yeah. Like, But here we got the whole damn ride.
It blows my mind every time, and it doesn't happen often, but like it blows my mind all 4 times I see somebody say they like Joker 2.
I've seen it twice, and I'm just like, are you out of your goddamn mind? Like, the only way that I could see that, people liking that movie is from a purely just everyone hates it, so I'm going to find a reason to like it.
Just to be countercultural.
Just contrarian, And then there was Quentin Tarantino with his awful ass take.
I'm like, of course, yeah.
This is the guy that was like, oh, I'm not going to watch Dune because it's a remake. It's not. Denis Villeneuve was pissed. Oh, you didn't know that?
No.
Yeah, he said he hates that Hollywood keeps recycling these ideas, and he was like these new Dune movies. He's like, I watched the Dune in 1984. I don't need to see it again.
What?
And Denis Villeneuve, he was very pissed. Yeah. He was like, my movie is not a remake of that fucking movie.
God damn, yeah. Like imagine putting all that work and sweat equity into making those movies, phenomenal pieces of cinema, for somebody to go, oh fuck those movies, I've seen it back in the day.
Yeah. It'd be like being like, I don't want to watch Chris Evans' Captain America. I seen that shit in 90. Yeah. You know? I don't need to watch it.
I seen Captain America back in 1990. It's the same shit. I don't need to see that remake.
I seen Grand Theft Captain America. I don't need to watch that shit.
Oh shit, that's fucking great.
God,
oh,
it's terrible.
God damn. What'd you think of the performance of Little Penguin, Young Penguin?
I thought he was quite good.
Yeah, me too.
And I thought they did a really good job of like they had to have had a vocal coach,
right?
Because
the dialect is
it's almost exactly identical.
Yeah.
His mom had a good performance too.
Yeah.
Tremendous. Mm-hmm. She turned out to be one of my favorite characters. You
right.
know?
Yeah, when you see her and she's not out of her goddamn mind.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I thought that the kid did a really good job, and it's crazy, like I said, just how much that kid and Colin Farrell, like, they have the exact same intonations of the speech, that they put that kind of it's like almost like a Boston and a New Jersey accent combined, and they kind of put that on at the same point in their words, you know. I thought it was really good. I thought that kid was fucked up.
Yeah.
I think that kid might actually be a fucked up person. It's like people say Jack Gleason's like the nicest guy. Nah, I think I think somewhere in there.
You think he's just
Yeah, he's like one, you know, they got my order wrong at the restaurant away from like mass murder.
I feel that way about Anthony Starr. Homelander, like, you know, I would love to meet him, but then again, I would love not to.
I could never trust Anthony Starr. You know what I mean? Like, I would be fine meeting him at a Comic-Con. Also, because I think he's like he's like 5'7" or something. He's like short.
He is tall. He's like 5'10", I think.
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, he's about my height then. You know, because they put him in the high heels, which is hilarious. But, you know, he, but I don't want to you know, go play tennis with him, or I don't want to be in like a car with him or anything like that. I can't trust that man.
No one should be that good at playing that kind of character.
No.
You know?
No.
Yeah.
I could, you know, except for like Gary Oldman. Gary Oldman's so good.
Well, that's because we've seen him play so many different types of characters perfectly.
But Anthony Starr, just this asshole. You know, I don't want to go all the way back to the Superman thing, but I think that's something that James Gunn and Dave Corenswet are going to have to work on and realize is that Homelander is a caricature of you, but you now have to in the culture you have to not ape him.
Yeah.
Like, you can't be sitting around and doing shit and have the public go, that's some Homelander shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Even though, ironically,
right.
Homelander is based on Superman.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there hasn't been a Superman movie since 2015.
I think if you're somewhat aware, should be a simple dilemma to avoid.
Yeah.
But you got to be paying attention.
James Gunn's very good at having his finger on the pulse.
Yeah. He was also the executive producer for Brightburn.
That's true. He was.
Yeah.
That movie was awesome.
It was, right? Yeah. Me and Kevin, we really enjoyed that one.
About halfway through this, they revealed that Clark is the villain. Superman just starts lasering people.
Oh, my gosh. I'm like, what the fuck?
Lex Luthor's like, I told you guys.
Y'all wouldn't listen.
Y'all wouldn't listen. That Lex Luthor is actually the good guy. He brings out the mech suit at the end and fights Superman.
What the fuck? That's a fucking... I can't even put
It would catch us all off guard once.
Yeah.
And then I think the internet would probably lose it.
Oh, yeah. Bruh.
The DC fanboys will sign off from the DCU immediately.
Oh, what do you do from there? The fuck?
But it would be amazing, I think, to see the twist in the theater. It'd be like watching The Village for the first time.
Yeah.
You know? Like, do you want to watch that again? Never.
Never.
No, actually, I don't.
Yeah, but the shock of seeing it for the first time.
Yeah, it was an experience.
Yeah. Holy shit. No, that would be amazingly awful.
Yeah.
Please never do that. Do we have anything else before we score this one, man, and get out of here?
Let's score it and wrap it up. I know we've been waiting on this one for a while. So
Yeah. You know I hate wrapping it up, but we'll go ahead and do so.
Gotta wrap that gavel up, B.
Hey, dog. You want to go first? You want me to go first?
You went first yesterday.
Yeah.
It was yesterday?
2 days ago.
2 days ago. In the past and future,
in the days of future past.
In the days of future past, we actually will review. We will have had reviewed Red One. And yeah, that's the past participle, and we thought it was all right. Yep. So here we are.
Yep. So here we are.
But yeah, so the Penguin. I enjoyed this more than the Batman. The Batman had a lot of problems for me. I liked it. I didn't love it. I loved aspects of it. I think that Robert Pattinson is the best Batman in the suit, hands down. I don't think that's even close. I think he's among the worst Bruce Waynes, though. Because if I were to walk into a room full of people and you were to be like, hey, which one of these people do you think dresses up like a bat? I'd be like, it's that guy. For sure.
It's a good thing he don't walk into very many rooms.
He does walk into a few in that movie, though. I'd be like, it's definitely him. However, this is not a review of the Batman. I like this a lot more. I think that it, like Agatha, is something that I did not expect to be excellent. But I thought it was. Like Agatha, it also, they have a villainous main character and they never try to redeem them. Does that also mean that Penguin has a lot of fucking plot armor here? Yes. He has Game of Thrones Season 8 plot armor. That shit is thick. Plates and plates of it. To the point where evil mobsters just have heart attacks and die while they fight him. But the stories that they told here, the different character arcs, and how they all got interwoven together, I think was masterful. I think this is a product that definitely serves the characters before it serves the plot. And I'm okay with that because this is straight up a character study for the Penguin. And if you look at it through that lens, I think it's really, really good. It does have some issues. I think that the pacing is problematic sometimes as well. Like some of these episodes I felt like were so well paced. And then some of them, it just feels like kind of they grind to a halt for a little while. Not as bad as they do in Red One.
Which we haven't seen yet.
Which we haven't technically reviewed yet. But we will have had done so in the future and the past.
Jesus.
But I presume that the pacing is worse in Red One. That being said, yeah, I think what Matt Reeves did here is incredible. I think that they elevated the Penguin to a much more villainous role. I think that having them as kind of the crime boss of Gotham going forward is a good way to go. And you've got this character now built in that has all this backstory, and we're just so familiar with them and their intentions, and seeing him outmaneuver and outplay all these like crime lords makes him somebody who could stand in contention with the Batman. And the thing is, he's seen the Bat. Mm-hmm. He's been taken out by the Bat. Mm-hmm. He knows that motherfucker's out there the whole time he's doing all of this shit. Mm-hmm. The balls on this guy.
Right.
That being said, I'm going to settle on an 8.6 for this one. Had some issues. I liked it a lot more than the Batman, but I thought it's a brilliant, just wonderful character study. I thought all of the lead roles and most of the secondary roles were just cast super well, and you could tell that Matt Reeves really knew what he was doing here, and the acting and the characters were first and foremost in front of everything, and I cannot ever fault anything for that.
You and I, actually, we're not so different. I didn't mean to go Joker there, but I absolutely did.
I think we're destined to do this forever.
Yeah, I have a lot of similar feelings to you as this, actually. I mean, ironically, the only place where we divide ways is I did not like this more than the Batman. I still had a great time with this show. I love that this is, like you said, it is such a character study of Oz Cobb. And just to see his dark, twisted descent, if you want to call it that, because technically this man has always been this fucked up and cruel.
Yeah. We're just having it revealed to us.
Exactly. It was such a fun ride. I am with you, though. There are some odd pacing issues. There are times, like episodes like 1, 2, and 3, they're just coming. No sexual innuendo intended.
I was going to let it go.
Okay. I couldn't, you know.
Yeah. Oh, I wanted to yell all over your face, but I didn't. I guess I have now.
You did, yeah, so, okay. I thought that this show, though, was just excellent, though, as a whole. I really love Sophia. I really love Victor. I really love Penguin. All the main cast I thought were great. And I love that this show followed through on just the premise of a villain, and they never lost sight of that. Even if we, as the audience, did, it was a clever misdirect that wasn't even a misdirect. So I really appreciate the show doing that. Is this show perfect? No. As I said before, there are some pacing issues, and yes, the Penguin does have plot armor. There's definitely times where bullets should have hit this man. There's definitely times when maybe mob bosses shouldn't have had heart attacks, maybe at that moment.
He was the biggest target on the battlefield.
Yeah. Penguin is certainly nothing if not lucky. The man certainly has luck on his side, if nothing else. But all that aside, I thought that this show was pretty darn incredible. I'll give it an 8.8 out of 10.
There we have it.
There you have it, folks. That is our review, our thoughts, our feelings on the Penguin.
All along.
He was the Penguin all along.
He was the Penguin all along. We just found out at the end that he was Penguin all along.
All along. God damn.
This is what we do here, folks.
This is what we do here, you know.
It has been nice to review things that we don't hate.
Right. It's so refreshing.
What are we doing next?
Let's see.
We going right into Watchmen?
I think we are.
Because, let's see. What's the, what's that movie? Craven?
Yeah, we got Craven. That's what, December 12th? Something like that?
Oh, well, I'll be here if it's the 12th.
Oh, yeah. You're not getting out of this one.
It's the 13th. Yeah, I'm going to be here. Yeah, I thought it was going to come out while I was gone, but I'm going to be here.
No, so, you will definitely be here for old Craven.
So we will review the new when's Animated Watchmen come out next week?
Well, I think part 2 comes out on like the 3rd
of December.
Yep.
I will be gone for that. So do we want to do part 1 of the animated, or do we want to wait?
I think we should go ahead and do part 1 of the animated.
Okay.
And then when you get back, we'll do part 2, and then we'll be getting there for Doomsday Clock.
Yeah. Well, we'll probably do Craven and then Doomsday Clock.
Then Doomsday Clock.
And then by then we'll be getting into our 2024 review.
Yes.
And our the award show, the Homie Awards. I think after we do part 1, we'll have a little time in there. I think we should do our Resurrections episode we talked about.
Perfect.
We're going to do the best, the worst, and the meh of Resurrections.
And there's a lot to choose from in fiction.
There is a fuck ton. And yeah, we're not limiting this one to comic books. It is going to be all fiction. Movies, TV shows, novels, tabloids, comic books, whatever. Yeah. Whatever you got. Everything.
Yeah.
Goosebumps books. Choose your own adventure.
Damn. Yeah. That's going to be a fun one, man. And I got to start putting that list together because...
Me too.
Yeah.
Do we want to do, 5 apiece? That'll probably fill up a whole episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. What, 2 good, 2 bad, and a either way?
Yep.
Or should we just...
Or maybe we just mix it up how we feel.
Hey, yeah. How about we just both do 5 and then we can decide how we feel about them?
Yeah. Yeah. Like if I think that you're choosing too many good ones, I'd be like, well, here's a shit one.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, here you go.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure that'd be fun. Yeah, because I think a good resurrection is harder to pull off even more so than a good death.
Yeah, so. And if you do both.
Oh, yeah.
We recently talked about one of those.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had a good death and a good resurrection.
Right.
Not easy to pull off.
Not easy to pull off at all. Ask Jesus.
Yeah. That death was... The pacing had issues.
I'm sure it did. I'm sure he wished it was much better paced.
Yeah, the pacing was problematic.
I think we can probably speed this one up, can't we?
Yeah. Can we get to it? We only got 22 episodes here. This has CW death.
Right.
Well, with that, folks, now that we're on excruciating deaths of mythological beings, I think we will go ahead and probably mosey on up out of here. But that is our review of The Penguin.
The Penguin, quack, quack. Yeah.
All right.
I told you at the beginning of the podcast, I don't know the noise that a penguin makes. Therefore, they will go quack. You don't know that they didn't quack. By your own metric.
That's true. They may have quacked.
Yeah.
They may have been like quack.
Yeah.
They also could have been like caca.
They could have been like caca. Or maybe they said, nah, Batman. Maybe that was their
I know at least one that says that.
Yeah, see? Well, all right, folks. Now that we have completely jumped the penguin, I think we're going to go ahead and get out of here. This has been another tremendously fun episode. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it as much as we did. I know that we had a blast. But that'll be all for now. If you guys have any kind of questions, comments, gifts, threats, food, supplies, then please be sure to hit us up at superherohomies@gmail.com or leave comments on any of the pages, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or X, Instagram, all that shit. Leave 5-star reviews. You know, this is the thing about like having a podcast that's like on everything. Leave all the good shit on all the platforms.
Yeah, all of them.
But until next time, my name is Superhero Homie Q.
And I'm Superhero Homie Caleb.